There are regulations to control presence of pesticides in food. It will be updated to handle new issues. The minister can issue regulations prohibiting the use of pesticides in food after consulting with the board and the minister who in charge for health services. Using the pesticides in food or using treatment food with any specified pesticides exceeding the permissible limit may be prosecuted if proven genuinely guilty.
Okay, we move to the next part, which is entry, inspection and seizure, iaitu kemasukan, pemeriksaan dan penyitaan. Okay, an authorized officer may, at all reasonable times, A. Enter and inspect any place that there is any food. B. Inspect any food wherever found. C. Seize, detain or remove any such food that believed to be contaminated. Okay. Bermaksud dekat sini, okay, an authorized officer iaitu pegawai yang diberi kuasa boleh pada bila-bila sahaja, okay, at any times, he may enter, okay, dia boleh masuk dan memeriksa mana-mana tempat atau premis di mana dia percaya bahawa di situ ada makanan yang bertujuan untuk dijual. Okay. Seterusnya, pegawai ini juga boleh memeriksa apa-apa makanan yang dijumpai di mana dia juga percaya bahawa makanan tersebut adalah untuk dijual. Okey. Dan seterusnya, okay, yang C, pegawai yang diberi kuasa ini juga boleh menyita, menahan atau membuang apa-apa makanan yang dipercayai tercemar. Okay? Or otherwise, he may mark, seal or secure the food. Okay? Iaitu dia boleh tanda. Okay? Dia boleh tanda makanan tersebut atau menyelamatkan makanan tersebut untuk tujuan atau kesan penyitaan, penahanan dan penghapusannya. Okay. That's all for this part.
Power to demand, select and take samples. An authorized officer have a right to demand, select and take samples of the food. The purpose is to analyze whether the food is contaminated or not. An authorized officer also should not demand or take less the contents package. That is for retail. If a person that neglects the order to fulfill a demand that made by an authorized officer, it is known as commits an offense.
Right to analysis of food. A person who buys food or someone other than the seller of the food should make a sample of the food that needs to be analyzed by the analyst to determine whether the food is contaminated food or not.
The offense of selling contaminated food. A person who sells any contaminated food commits an offense. It means if there is an individual selling food that has been contaminated with poison, that individual has been found guilty. Ignorance of contamination, not a defense. In a prosecution for an offense under Section 25, it shall be no defense that the accused didn't know that the food in question was contaminated food unless he also proved that he had taken all reasonable steps to ascertain that the food was not contaminated food. It means, in the prosecution for an offense under Section 25, it says that if the accused individual does not know the food sold is contaminated, the accused individual has to show evidence that he has taken precautionary measures to ensure the food is not contaminated before selling it to the public.
Defense of reliance on written warranty or statement. In Section 27, subsection 1, where in this section is clarifies that any individual found guilty of selling contaminated food under Section 25 may defend himself against the allegation by reliance on written warranty or statement based on three things. The first is that the accused purchased food from a supplier based on a written warranty or written statement stating that the nature of the food is not contaminated. Secondly, a defense can be made when the accused has not reason to state that the food sold does not subject to the warranty or statement. And lastly, the food sold will also not be contaminated if the food is such the warranty or statement.
Okay, next. In defense of reliance on written warranty or statement, in this situation indicates resident outside Malaysia contaminate food. He can defend himself if he has evidence that he bought this food. In fact, because of there is no guarantee and no warranty this food, so he can defend himself under subsection 1. Next, if he succeeds in proving that he took steps to identify whether the food is contaminated or not, then he can use this act for defense.
Number 3 stated that the accused was also required to provide more information to the registered post office about the supplier of the poisonous food. When the subject, the accused person, sent proof to the public prosecutor's office within 10 days of the charge being brought against him, he must provide a copy of statement as well as written notice indicating that he will use the statement as evidence. Number 4. The employer or boss will be required to provide strong evidence that they were unaware of the chemical impact on the food. If the accused is an employee or agent who distributes the food himself, he can use subsection 1 to acquit himself of the charge level against him by stating evidence or making a statement. Number 5. The accused can avoid paying the summons if he can provide solid evidence. If the accused who sells food as an agent make a false statement about the contaminated food, he will be fined 10,000 ringgit on the first charge, then 20,000 ringgit on the second charge or on the second subsection, unless the accused provide evidence that he is not guilty of distributing the poisonous food.